Welcome into the show, everybody. This is the Farzy Show, presented by MyBookie, MyBookie.ag, and it's wonderful to have all you guys along for the ride. Phillies, unfortunately, lose in walk-off fashion. Jordan Davis didn't like his words, not mine. Jordan Davis didn't like that his face was getting fat. So he got into Peloton towards the later stages of the season last year. This comes in response to Vic Fangio just saying 2 days ago that his nose tackle, defensive tackle, Jordan Davis, was in the best shape of his life. So people asked him about it. Always an awkward thing. The players get interviewed outside the NovaCare complex yesterday. We talked about it yesterday also. Not allowed in the locker room yet until like training camp, maybe even mandatory mini camp. But you have this nice big auditorium, and players are being interviewed outside, whatever. And Jordan Davis is talking about how he fell in love with Peloton, and that made him a better player last year, which I think if we're all being real with ourselves and actually believing what Vic Fangio said 2 days ago, which was that he ended the season well, Jordan Davis ended the season well, I guess he was in better shape by season's end. So I guess that would play into the idea of him playing better than he did in the middle of the season. You guys get through their offseason regimens. They have a goal of being in shape. I'm sure that was one of Jordan Davis's goals last year. That's why it looked so svelte while he was in the bike race and all that. And then I guess as the season went on, you fall out of it a little bit. You think you'd stay in it, but he fell out of it a little bit. And Peloton came to save the day. I am not a Pelotonite, a Pelotonian. I don't know. I don't do Peloton. Shocking, I know. But he was really into it. We'll get into that conversation. We'll also let you hear about what Jordan Davis had to say for himself. And we'll also let you hear from Rob Thompson. Because, as you guys know, after every Phillies game, run into this here studio, and I do the postcast. I don't listen to Rob Thompson. I don't have time. Can't listen to I got to get on right away. I was hoping, and I was almost trying to just put it into existence. I was trying to wish it into existence, will it into existence, that Rob Thompson was going to say something to the effect of Mick Able sticking around. Well, guess what? Mick Able is sticking around. Now, I go after the show's over, I go and do I watch the NBC post-game show with Michael Barkan. Ben Davis was doing it yesterday. And I wait for the press conference. And I watch the press conference. And what did you know it? Rob Thompson's asked about your boy Mick Able, and he doesn't say anything about whether or not he's sticking around. He just talks about how great he was. Then they move on to talk about JT Realmuto, who took a foul ball off the hibbity-dibbity yesterday, okay? That had to leave the game, all right? Hopefully he's okay, whatever. So they go on to talk about JT Realmuto, and then they talk about Mick Able again, and I'm like, okay, all right, maybe this is where round 2 of Mick Able questions, and then the follow-up question is asked, will he be sticking around? Oh, yeah, he'll be sticking around. Like the exact answer I wanted, not just in the affirmative, but the very much affirmative that Mick Able will not be leaving this rotation anytime soon. That was a thing of relief. Now, unfortunately, despite Mick Able going out there and tossing 5 1/3 of one-run baseball, should have been no-run baseball, but Brandon Marsh yesterday, he hustled his butt off to get to that baseball, hitting the left center field gap by Bo Bichette, got to the spot, goes into a slide, and misses the baseball. And it wasn't even like he was sliding the base. At the top of his slide, the beginning of his slide, the ball right there, missed it. Ends up being an RBI triple, the only run assessed to Mick Able so far in his big league career of 11 1/3 innings of one-run baseball. Still yet to allow a big league walk, by the way, just for extra pleasure. That run scores, ties the ball game at 1-1. Jordan Romano comes in the 9th inning and allows the walk-off. One thing on Jordan Romano, and I'm going to get more into the game. It still baffles me. Just like it baffles me that a NBA player could shoot like below 80% from the free throw line. Even that's, I think, being generous. It baffles, like certain things just baffle me about sports that I'll just never understand. I know they exist. I just don't understand why they exist. I don't understand how relievers can just completely forget about a pickoff move. And I don't understand how relievers can just be so slow to the plate when you have a runner on first base. And this has been a thing. Brad Lidge had a thing about this. Billy Wagner had a thing about this. Like, I remember when he was a Philly, guys were just stealing willy-nilly on him, no problem whatsoever. It was astounding. And yesterday, I'm watching Vlad Guerrero Jr., who, in case you missed it, last year in 159 games he stole 2 bases in 159 games last year. Well, he got one yesterday on Jordan Romano. And if you're going to allow Vladimir Guerrero Jr. to steal second base with Rafael Marchand at this point catching, because as I mentioned, JT Realmuto got it off the old bits and pieces, that means you're pretty slow to the plate and you have no pickoff move whatsoever. And who's going to know that more so than the Toronto Blue Jays than, the guy that they was pitching for him for so long, in Jordan Romano. So Vlad Guerrero, I don't like to call him Vladdy, but Vlad Guerrero Jr., out of respect for his father, he was Vladdy. This is Vlad Jr. Takes second base, gets himself into scoring position. Alejandro Kirk comes up there and gets what would have been probably at least an RBI double. Well, it was an RBI single, but either way, it was a walk-off, and that was that. Romano put a ball out over the middle of the plate for his former catcher that he just missed a 2-run walk-off home run by about a foot, maybe 6 inches, and that was that. Phillies bats, though, more so than Jordan Romano, more so than Brandon Marsh in center field. But the Phillies bats, and Brandon Marsh was on base twice yesterday, had a hit and a walk. And I'm watching this game unfold, and of course I can believe it, but I am frustrated as hell at the Phillies bats, more so than I'm frustrated at Jordan Romano, more than I'm frustrated at Brandon Marsh. And there's a perfect example of it in the ball game that we'll get to later. But I'll just tell you this. Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper, 0 for 4, 0 for 12 combined, 4 strikeouts, 2 to Turner, 2 to Harper. Harper had 2 situations where he had a full count, 1 situation where he had a fastball out over the middle of the plate, 3-2 fastball from Barrios, and he just swung through it. And I'm thinking, well, that right there was a difference in that's a home run ball. And it was almost like the game that Bryce Harper had last night was the game I expected Bryce Harper to have in his first game back. But instead, no, he's a showman. Of course, he has to hit a home run in his first game back. Also, there was a pitch there to Kyle Schwarber, had one of the few hits for the Phillies last night. They only had 5 in total. Sinker out over the middle of the plate that he just missed. Another ball that you're expecting to go 400 feet away from the plate. It didn't. I think it was a roll. I think he rolled over it to the second baseman. I can't remember. But yeah, it was pretty wild yesterday. But the Phillies take a 2-1 loss. Their series is tied at 1. They're going to try to get back on the winning series track today with Jesus Luzardo on the hill. So hopefully that's what happens at the Phillies. Like I said, we'll get more into that. We'll let you hear from Rob Thompson talking about Mick Able. We'll also let you hear from Rob Thompson when it comes to Mick Able's immediate future. Now, yesterday, in case you didn't hear it, Vic Fangio addressed the media. He was originally asked about Jordan Davis, and he was asked about Jordan Davis's 5th-year option being picked up and whether or not he had anything to do with it. And then it was shifted to Jordan Davis's weight and whether or not he's in shape this season.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have anything to do with that decision. That's how he's. But Jordan last year, I would say the last 7 or 8 games, including the playoffs, played very well down the stretch. And I think that's carried over into this offseason. And I anticipated carrying over into the season. I think he's in the best shape that he's ever been in, which he kind of got into late in the season last year, and he's carried it over. So I think he's going to do very well for us this year.
You don't typically see that. Can I just follow up real quick on that? You don't typically see guys get in their best shape late into the season. Why did it take so long for him to get in his best shape?
We could be here a long time for that. It just, for some guys it takes time, but I'm ducking that question.
I'm ducking that question. Usually if you're ducking a question, you don't tell someone, but hey, it's Vic Fangio. So Vic Fangio's talking there about the weight and all that stuff. That's great. Jordan Davis yesterday, while addressing the media outside the NovaCare complex, basically told the story as to how he got into shape. Now, this is so wild to me. This is a professional athlete in the middle of a season. Vic Fangio acknowledges that midway to the end of the season, he kind of rediscovered, being in shape. He got into better shape. Well, Jordan Davis on cracking that.
All about going out there, getting a little movement, get a little extra work. Fell in love with Peloton later on half in the season. Just putting in a little sweat equity, the little extra things. And when I did that and I was consistent with it, the trajectory for how I was playing definitely took off. I felt like my face was getting a little fat, and I wanted to look good. But then again, knowing that the team is relying on me, knowing that the team has a lot of trust in me, and they expect me to be there in the big moments.
They certainly expect you to be there. Know the team's relying on you. The team's relying on you all season long. So let's go like this. Jordan Davis, beginning of the season, in shape, looking good. Sack against the Saints, set the tone early in a very defensive game down there in New Orleans. And then, the middle of the season is like, where's Jordan Davis? Jordan Davis still around? What's Jordan Davis up to? Is Jordan Davis still here? What's going on with Jordan Davis? And then, end of the season is like, oh, hey, Jordan Davis. And then it's also, you go into the playoffs and look, Jordan Davis is here. He's plugging up the middle. He's taking advantage of double teams on Jalen Carter. This looks like a different player. Well, you know what went hand in hand with that? Being in shape. You know what went hand in hand with being in shape? Apparently becoming a Pelotonian. All right, you stay on that bike, friend, because you're pretty damn good when you're in shape. You're pretty damn good when you're not winded after one quarter. And if your defensive coordinator is aware of it, then obviously the whole team's aware of it. Obviously the whole organization is aware of it. So much is going to rely on Jordan Davis this year. You don't have Milton Williams. Ty Robinson is a guy that I'm very eager to see go up against men, not college boys, men. Want to see it. The surefire thing I'd like to know going into this season is that Jordan Davis is ready to get after it. You've lost a lot defensively. You're hoping you filled it in. I highlighted yesterday for you, Vic Fangio. For anyone worried about this Eagles defense, maybe taking a step back for this year, you have to think back to last year. You had new names on the defense. You had question marks as to whether or not guys would flourish. And guys came in here and they handled the business. Jalen Carter took that step forward. Nolan Smith took 2 giant leaps forward last year. You had guys coming in here looking to prove that Zach Bond, was he going to be the guy? We found out Devin White was not the guy, to go back to that name from last training camp. Nakobe Dean, was he ready for the challenge? He was ready for the challenge. Quenyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, whenever it was that Cooper DeJean was going to get his start, was he going to be ready? Oh, yeah, both of them very much up for the challenge. Now this year, you could talk about Adoree Jackson being that guy, Keely Ringo being that guy, the versatility of Cooper DeJean now for another step forward in his career, just going into his sophomore season in the NFL. And you could also talk about Josh Uche, you could talk about Azeez Ojulari, and you could also talk about Ty Robinson. Or Ty Robinson. And the other one is Jordan Davis. I'd like to know that Jordan Davis is going to be at his best for 17 games leading up to the playoffs. That's what I'd like to know. That's what I'd like to hear. More of that from Jordan Davis. And then when he steps out on the football field, you go, oh, yeah, this is the guy. And then if it's Peloton for 17 weeks, it's Peloton for 17 weeks. I know people are really into Peloton. It becomes like a cult. You have your favorite instructors and all that stuff. People are into it. My missus was into it for a while. Now she likes to run. Now she's into the running game right now. Speaking of did not imagine that would be my transition, but or segue. The Saquon Barkley. So Geno's in South Philly, a place I've been to, a place that someone once told me was the best cheesesteak in Philadelphia, and I believed because I didn't know Philadelphia at the time. Grew up in the suburbs. I was just happy to be in the city whenever I was in the city. Oh, it's the best cheesesteak in Philly. No, that's not. But I've been there many times, usually past 1 a.m., between 1 a.m. and 3 a.m. I've been in that line. I've made friends in that line. I've made enemies in that line. That's probably the last time I was at Geno's. Anyway, I was amused by draping Geno's in Madden Saquon Barkley Madden covered drapes as Saquon was down there the other day, and Chris Long went out there to do his Green Light podcast, and he was talking to Saquon Barkley, and Saquon Barkley just kind of let it out there that he might do a Barry Sanders, which no thanks. Please don't. Let's have this last as long as humanly possible. He's like, I might just wake up one day and be like, nope, not feeling it, and I'm out. Now, Barry Sanders did not have a Super Bowl ring. Maybe that helped him push to 30, 31 years old. You're talking about Saquon Barkley, 27, 28 years old. You're talking about Saquon Barkley still having a lot left in the tank. And I know for running backs, it could all go quickly. But this is where I'll hang with the people that talk about the Derrick Henry runs versus the Saquon Barkley runs. Saquon Barkley's runs, yeah, they're a little easier than Derrick Henry. When you have this kind of offensive line in front of you, that's pretty good. But also Saquon Barkley did play for the Giants for all but last year. And he took some big hits then. And he had injuries then. There is wear and tear on that body despite what we saw in last year. To the point, I've brought up 482. I've brought up that number many times. That's the amount of touches he had last year. 482. Well, he was fresh enough after a career with the Giants to come to the Eagles and be able to touch the football 482 times, regular season, postseason combined. He's healthy enough to do that. I don't want him to have to do that again for the Eagles to win as many games as they did last year, or for the Eagles to win another Super Bowl. Hey, we get to the playoffs, all bets are off, man. But I'd love to see Saquon go out there and kept somewhat fresh, so that we're not worried about all of a sudden waking up maybe this time next year going, yeah, I think I'm done. Yeah, I think that was a good enough run. Now I've got 2 Super Bowls. Yeah. I don't want to see that happen. I want to see him playing. Hey, look, I understand football's a dangerous game. I understand that these guys are putting a lot on the line when they go out there. Their mental health that we talk about a lot these days. We've seen guys retire 29, 30 years old, and then I forget the guy's name. He's a farmer now. He just got his NFL money. He's like, now I want to do other things. So, guys, that's on their mind. Running backs, especially, that's on their mind. It could be a short shelf life of a career. Saquon, to me, here in Philadelphia, could be a guy that could last for a very long time. So I don't want to see him go anywhere. When I heard him talking about retirement, I read the quote first. I went back and listened to it, and I'm like, I know he's just kind of talking about this matter-of-factly, but I hope this isn't real foreshadowing that it's really going to go down like that. Like one day we're all excited about what Saquon could bring, and then all of a sudden, I'm done. Just like that. Great. Thank you for that eye-opening. Now, I'll say this. Whenever an athlete talks about the end, that means they're thinking about it. If he's already thinking about the end, that means it's not that far off. Now, I don't think Saquon Barkley is playing his last year in the NFL. I don't think that's happening in the upcoming season, but it will make me appreciate this season a lot more. It'll make me appreciate next season even more. But once an athlete starts talking about, oh, this is how it could end, I'm going to be on the edge of my seat, hoping, praying that he's just being dramatic, silly. Let's go with silly. But it wouldn't shock me. It wouldn't shock me at this point for anybody that's just decided. I mean, Ragnow right now with the Lions. Now they got to go into their center go into their season without their center. All of a sudden. And the line was, I tried all offseason to convince my body that I was feeling good, and I wasn't. And that's the end. So it can happen with anybody, and, man, it would really sting if Saquon just all of a sudden, let's say after another great season, let's say after getting another 2,000 yards, let's say after another Super Bowl victory, Saquon just said, yeah, I think that does it. The one thing that obviously already having a Super Bowl ring, the one thing that I think would keep him out there is Hall of Fame. He's going to need more for the Hall of Fame. A career mostly spent with the Giants and in disappointment is not going to end with him going into the Hall of Fame. So if you're just looking for reasons to stay and play, and he can still play at a high level, and he's in great health, then let it rip till you get to that Hall of Fame, brother. And I'm hoping it all happens here in Philadelphia with great numbers and great success, and at least one more parade down Broad Street. That's what I'm going to hope for. Your Philadelphia Phillies. Good. Oh, by the way, more Eagles conversation today on Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. Harry Mays, Jason Martinez, Louis DiBiase, and yours truly have another hour-long Eagles show for Eagles Squad podcast, so make sure you guys check that out. That's coming up at noon today on Locked On Eagles YouTube channel. Last night's Phillies game was very frustrating. Now, just so you know, they did lose 2-1, as I mentioned earlier. The Mets beat the Dodgers 6-1, so now the Phillies believe now it's a game and a half behind the Mets in the division. They fall back to a game and a half behind them. But last night's game started off in the first inning. 1-2-3 inning, both sides. Bryson Stott, Trey Turner, Bryce Harper go down. Just 8 pitches needed by Jose Barrios to get through that. So, side of things to come. But then the second inning, Nick Castellanos gets a solo home run, his 6th of the season. All right, you're up 1-0. Let's get the bats going. The bats don't get going. Brandon Marsh has a hit in the next inning, third inning. Phillies can't do anything with that. It was a 1-out base runner. Bryson Stott fouled out to third. Trey Turner grounded out to short, and that was that. In the bottom of the third inning, Mick Able, who had been cruising, 1-2-3 inning, gets into that third inning, gets roaded to ground out to first. He gets Clace to strike out on a 3-2 fastball in. Great run on it. A 9-pitch at bat. He won that battle. And then he gave up a hit to Jimenez, a single to center field. That was the first hit he gave up in the ball game. And one of the few hits he gave up in the ball game. He then got Bichette to hit a hard hit ground ball to Bryson Stott, who stabbed it to make the play. It was a great play by him. He was blocked by the umpire, made a great play to his right, stabbed it, threw him out of first base, and that was that. So then he gave it a 5th inning here. Or 4th inning, I should mention that Kyle Schwarber also got a 1-out hit. This was after a 3-2 at bat, a 3-2 count to Bryce Harper, who got a fastball out over the middle of the plate and just swung right through it. Kyle Schwarber stepped up, got a single. Alec Boehm grounded a double play. That was that. 4th inning, bottom of the 4th inning, another 1-2-3 inning there for Mick Able. Nick Castellanos grounds out to short in the 5th inning. Then the Phillies load the bases. Max Kepler a walk, JT Realmuto a single, Brandon Marsh a walk. He's on base for the second time. Bases loaded, 1 out, top of the order coming up. Spoiler, if you didn't see the game, they got nothing. Bases loaded, 1 out. Bryson Stott, 3-2 pitch, pops out to third. Trey Turner flies out to right field. That was that. A 28 pitching for a 28 pitch inning for Jose Barrios. Nothing across the plate. It was at that point that I went, all right, this is probably going to be pitcher's duel the rest of the way. 1-2-3 inning again for Mick Able in the bottom of the 5th inning. Phillies can't get anything going for themselves in the 6th inning. Bottom of the 6th inning, Mick Able starts out at 66 pitches. Gets Clace to ground out to first. Jimenez, again, gets another hit off him. You have a runner on first base with 1 out. Bo Bichette puts that ball in the left center field gap. Brandon Marsh covers a lot of territory on this. I watched this a number of times because I was like, did he get scared of Kepler walking over to him? And I'm like, the hell with that. And originally I thought Kepler was running too close to the baseball that kind of made Brandon Marsh short arm it a little bit. But watching it again and then again, Max Kepler peeled off perfectly and Brandon Marsh slid into it. And as he's going into his slide, just misses the ball. Very simple. Just misses the ball. So now all of a sudden, instead of it being a 1-out situation, should be 2-out situation now with a runner on first, you have a tie ball game, 1-1, and an RBI triple to Bo Bichette. With 1 out, you have a runner on third base. Mick Able's taken out of the game. Orion Kerkering comes in, and I think, all right, well, there's no way that runner is not scoring from third. He's going to allow a ground ball to the right side of the infield or whatever. They're going to bring that run home. Bo Bichette's going to score. There's no way. Orion Kerkering, bing, bang, boom, out of the inning. Does not allow the run to score. You're still tied at 1. Then your bullpen pitches, great, perfect, even. Matt Strom, perfect. Tanner Banks, perfect. When it came down to it, And the Phillies, again, were unable to get anything going for themselves offensively, as they came up with no hits in the 7th. They came up with no hits in the 8th. And they came up with 1 hit in the 9th inning, a 2-out base knock by Alec Boehm, but nothing after that. You went into the bottom of that 9th inning, and I went, Jordan Romano's coming into this game to face his former teammates. I don't feel good about this one. He gets Bo Bichette to foul out to Bryce Harper on a ball that was just looked like it was just barely inside the screen, like maybe a foot of space for Bryce Harper to make the play, but he makes the play. During the at-bat, though, with Bo Bichette, you lose JT Realmuto. Bo Bichette fouled it off the tackle box, and JT Realmuto leaves the game. After the game, Rob Thompson said that it was his decision to take him out. JT was trying to stay in, but he knew he was in too much pain. It was like, dude, just get out of the game. Get out of the game. Rafael Marchand gets dressed. He goes out there and he catches. Now, Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets a single to center field. 1-out base knock. He then steals second base on Jordan Romano. Again, if you don't have any type of pickoff move or at least a fast, quick slide step or anything as a closer, I don't know what the hell you're doing in the big leagues. But a lot of them don't. Just seems to be an accepted stupid thing in baseball. One of the many stupid accepted things in sports. For instance, again, anyone in the NBA shooting below like 80% for the free throw line. I think even that's being kind. But anyway, Guerrero gets a single, steals second. Now got a runner in scoring position with 1 out. Barger steps up there. He gets him to strike out on a 3-2 slider. Very interesting pitch here. If Barger is at all expecting a slider or thinking he's going to get a breaking ball from Romano, this is a hanging slider that he belts out of the park for a 2-run walk-off home run. But because he was thinking Romano was going to go fastball, he geared up, swung over top of the slider, ends up being a great pitch there by Jordan Romano, an even worse swing by Barger, and then Alejandro Kirk comes up to the plate. He gets a fastball up and away, well, up in middle of the plate, really. And he goes opposite way with it, right center field gap, top of the wall, credited for the walk-off RBI single to right field. Phillies lose 2-1, and now Jesus Luzardo will take the hill today at 3:07 to try to win this series before they face a weekend set in Pittsburgh with the Pirates. Please win this game today. And dear Bats, please come alive. Because the last 2 games, I think, is what we all fear. We fear Phillies can't swing a bad bat in a game. They jump out to a 6-0 lead on the Blue Jays in Game 1. They win 8-3. All was great. And then 1 run. 1 run. Despite a bases-loaded 1-out situation, Bryson Stott, Trey Turner do up, and they get nothing. This is ultimately horrifying. Ultimately horrifying. I know everyone's afraid of the bullpen, and I get it. I'm afraid of the bullpen, too. I'm afraid of Jordan Romano. I had a lot of confidence in Jordan Romano, last week? And now I don't. I am waiting patiently for Dave Dombrowski to make a move of significance to help out this bullpen. I would very much like additions to this team other than Mick Able, other than Andrew Painter later on, maybe other than Justin Crawford later on. I would like help now. Not very patient. It's been, 3 weeks now since Jose Alvarado was dismissed for 80 games due to PEDs. We already know he's not going to be here to help the ball club until late August. You know he's not going to be able to help the ball club in the postseason. So something has to be done. Matt Strom, great job yesterday. Tanner Banks, phenomenal job yesterday. Orion Kirkering, good hustle. The guy that was brought in to close the door, or at least make sure you got into extra innings, just provided the end of the ball game. Was it all his fault? No. I mean, Bats got a hit. Was it all his fault that they lost? No, Bats got a hit. But when you're charged with, hey, just have a scoreless inning here, and Kirkering already took advantage of it through his 2/3 of an inning, Strom and Banks did their job, you're set up for success there. Not meant to be for Jordan Romano. So help sooner rather than later for the Phillies would be great, Dave Dombrowski. As I mentioned, 3:07 this afternoon, Phillies and Blue Jays back at it to wrap up this 3-game set north of the border. After the game, I just wanted to hear about Mick Able. I wanted to know if there's anything on JT. He was being looked at literally during Rob Thompson's press conference. Haven't seen anything after. Couple things from after the game. One, I'll start with Mick Able. Mick Able, they asked him, like, what did you think about your start? He goes, I didn't have my best stuff tonight. 5 1/3, 1 inning. Didn't have my best stuff. No walks. I didn't have my best stuff. If you watch the game, the Blue Jays did tee off on a couple of baseballs that were hit either right at or in a playable area. Now, playable area is a loose term when you talk about Bryson Stott because his playable area is vast. Made that great play I mentioned earlier in the game to make that stab. That was a great play by him in the 3rd inning on Bo Bichette to rob him of a single. There was another play. I think it was Luke's lined out to Bryce Harper at first base on a ball that was just hit on the screws. Vlad Guerrero Jr. lined out, hard hit balls to center field to Brandon Marsh. George Springer hit one to Brandon Marsh that was tattooed, but Brandon Marsh closed on it well. That's another thing that's so crazy about that play in the 6th inning, that Brandon Marsh was getting everything. And he got to that baseball in the 6th inning and just missed it. All that work, all that running in vain, Brandon Marsh. But Mick Able, after the game, I don't think I have my best stuff. Okay, I want to see more of your best stuff then. All right. By the way, Mick Able, to give you the numbers, I saw this after the game. How about this for the young man? Mick Able, first pitcher in only the last 125 seasons with 5+ innings, no walk, and 1 or no runs allowed in each of his first 2 big league appearances. 125 seasons. 125 seasons. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. So after the game, I'm waiting. I'm watching. Rob Thompson gets asked about Mick Able. Here's one of his answers about Mick Able.
Well, I think it's kind of clicked for him, you know. He's been around now for a few years, and I think he's learned a lot, and he's confident in his stuff, and he understands now to attack hitters and trust his stuff, and that goes a long way.
Do you guys get stubs here? Like, is that his point of concern?
I don't know.
Okay.
Stubs for JT Realmuto, but he's talking about being around for a few years, meaning the system, not just the big leagues. Obviously, we're talking about a rookie. But then I'm like, okay, so he's still not saying whether or not he's going to make another start. Like, will he start in 5 days? Because my big thing about Taijuan Walker's last start is that his start came on the day Mick Able was pitching in the minors. And somebody wrote me, they said, well, you know, Mick Able, he struggled in that start. I don't care if he struggled in his start at the AAA level. And they even referenced how he had some struggles at AAA and during last night's broadcast, T-Mac and Ruben Aro Jr. And my thought was, yeah, he's bored. He's like, I've done this. I can do this. Now where's my next challenge? Let me get to the big challenge, the big leagues. And here he is. Oh, scoreless, barely get a run. So, yeah, still should have made that last start and not Taijuan Walker, but it is what it is. So I'm listening to Rob Thompson. That was the 3rd question about Mick Able, and there was no answer yet as to whether or not he's going to be sticking around or whether or not he's going to go back down to the minors. Because remember, before his first start, and then shortly thereafter, the message from Rob Thompson to Mick Able was, you come up, you make this start, and you're going right back down. Try to take the pressure off the kid. Say, hey, just so you know, this is not an audition. We need someone to start. You're the next man up, and you're going right back down. And that's exactly what happened. And I don't mind that for Rob Thompson. I like how he handled that. So then Mick Able gets another opportunity to start at the big league level, and he goes 5 1/3 in a run. No walks. Still yet to walk a guy. Let's keep this going for as long as possible. But still, after the game, nothing as to whether or not he'll make his next start. Then finally, ladies and gentlemen.
With Mick, I know you had said, before the game that we'll kind of see how he does with Noel's situation, like that sort of thing. Is this an opportunity now where he can maybe stick around for another start, or is that?
Oh, he's going to be sticking around. Yeah.
Oh, he'll be sticking around. Exactly the answer I wanted. It's like when it's the old Seinfeld bit with George Costanza about going to the doctor. I won't be too specific, but going to the doctor and you're worried about something. The doctor's like, you think it's that? Get out of here. Yeah, you're crazy. It's not that. Is he sticking around? Yes, he's sticking around. Oh, he'll stick around. Love it. And he should. Aaron Nola had a, what did they call it yesterday? A little discomfort. Oh, tightness. Tightness is the word. A little tightness in his side as he's rehabbing the ankle. So now the ankle bone is connected to the side bone. I don't know. And so he's not pitching. Supposed to do a bullpen thing, or supposed to do live batting. Didn't do it. A couple of days off. A couple of days means Mick Able will be back making a start. And hopefully that sticks around for as long as possible. So very excited about that. Now, what I'm not excited about is Dave Dombrowski still sitting on his Tums. Get off your thumbs, man. You're twiddling them. Get off them. 3:07 start time today for the Phils. Hopefully to win this series against the Blue Jays. Hey. Who's there? Oh, NBA Finals tonight. Very excited. I really like both these teams. I really like Oklahoma City Thunder. I mean, SGA, forget about it. Isaiah Joe, former Sixer. TJ McConnell with the Pacers, I really like Tyrese Halliburton. I just have enjoyed watching these playoffs. I got OKC in 6. I think it's going to be a very fun series to watch. If you're not going to have the Sixers in it, then you want to at least know that you're going to be enjoying something. And I enjoy that it's fresh blood. Like, we don't know how these teams are going to perform at this high level. One thing I don't enjoy is the possibility for Tyrese Halliburton to have ever been a 76er. Daryl Morey not doing it. But, it is what it is. One of my favorite screenshots from, or screen grabs, whatever, from this playoff run for the Pacers has been TJ McConnell running in front of Kylie Jenner and Timothy Chalamet and Ben Stiller. That, to me, is just pure comedy. And TJ McConnell has not changed at all, man. He is just the absolute. I mean, look, we didn't expect him to, but he is just the same. He's the same guy that went through the process here in Philadelphia. The same guy. Like, when you talk about guys that were here through the process, like, I was on a call yesterday with the Locked On people, Locked On NBA, because Keith and I'm doing the Locked On Sixers podcast now with Keith Pompey 5 days a week. Christian Wood's name got brought up. And we realized that everyone that was on the call, from Locked On Rockets, I think Wizards, who else was there? Pistons. Everybody on that call, Christian Wood had played for that team. And I'm like, I have not thought about Christian Wood in a very long time. Mavericks, of course, as well. He had a spot. Pelicans was another one. Mets and the Rockets. We didn't have Lakers. We didn't have Bucks. Yeah. I was like, wow, that's a process error name that I totally forgot about. TJ McConnell might be the greatest success story of the process, away from, obviously, Joel Embiid, because he was the end of the process. But TJ McConnell, probably the biggest success story to come out of it. Did I say probably? He is. He is the biggest success story to come out of it. So I do look forward to watching this NBA Finals gets underway tonight. OKC in 6. Hey, let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. Want to go to the game, the concert, the comedy show? Game Time app has you covered. Take care of the Game Time app. It takes care of you. Game Time Picks feature 2 on the Game Time app filters out all the fluff so you get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices on the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase. Don't forget about all-in pricing. Don't forget about seat. You could view your seat, the vantage point of your seat before you buy, so you take the guesswork out of buying tickets with the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code FARZI, get $20 off your first purchase with the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's PHLSportsNation.com. gmail.com. Let's get into the chat check and see what's going on. First comment. Farzy can't bench the bar. Did post game with you last night. Now you're here for the Farzy show. God bless you. I think Farzetta can bench more than Romano. Thank you. Thank you. The first time you're giving me credit. I'll take every ounce of it. Thank you very much, Farzy can't bench the bar. Defend the Constitution 3. Okay. Farzy, can you please give us a way to fix the bullpen? Are you in on the Chapman rumors? It's interesting to say that. Aroldis Chapman right now with the Red Sox. I saw those rumors out there. I'm in. He's still popping the mid at 97, 98, 99 miles per hour. I'm in. Come on down, pal. Unfortunately, the Phillies are in a beggars can't be choosers type of mode. Also, last I checked, Aroldis Chapman's ERA is, I want to say it was like 205 or something like that. I'll see what it's up or down to now. 180. Holy pots and pans. Yeah, 37 years old now. I did see this rumor. He is with Boston now. 180 ERA on the season. 9 saves on the season. But the whip. A sub-1 whip. First time he's had a sub-1 whip since 2021. Pots and pans. Come on down. Come on down. Did I not hit that? Did I just read it and not hit it? I'm sorry. There you go. There's your just due. Sean Kilred, hello. Ooh, Matt Kors is Greg. Okay. Hi, Greg. Or is it Greg? Okay. Rob Thompson reminds me a bit of big game James Franklin. I can understand that. Sean Kilred, JT injury to his junk didn't look good at all, Farzy. Worse than the one he took last year. I would agree. Danny Prado, what's up, buddy? Rakita Law, hello. Craig Kimbrell was a free double to anyone on first. That is true. That's the other closer I was trying to think of. Craig Kimbrell, no move. Jags, is it Dollar General Damon Kaufman? Okay. Farzy, do you remember where you were in 93 when Joe Carter touched them all? I do. I was at my Aunt Teresa and Uncle Ralph's. My Uncle Ralph was throwing my Aunt Teresa's surprise birthday party, which was hilarious because my Aunt Teresa's birthday is in like June. And this is obviously what, October? I forget the day, October something. And I remember a guy walked in. I didn't know this dude, but he walked in wearing a full Phillies uniform. And one of his buddies goes, well, they're done. This guy's a mush. I'll never forget that. And I remember I was like 10 or 11 years old, and I said to my dad, I just turned 11. And I said to my dad, I go, what's a mush? He goes, I mean, somebody that just is bad luck to the team always. If he's rooting for him, then it's not happening. They ain't winning. And I'm like, uh-oh. And then I watched that. I mean, I watched the game and just went, I'm going to hate Joe Carter for the rest of my life. I'm going to hate Joe Carter. Touch them all, Joe. I remember going to a Phillies-Orioles game when interleague play was like just becoming a thing. And Joe Carter was with the Orioles at the time, and he stepped into play at Veterans Stadium. And as you would assume, oh, man, the boos rained down upon him. That was funny. But, yeah, that's where I was. I was sitting on my Aunt Teresa and Uncle Ralph's carpet, packed house, and I was watching the game, and I just went, oh, damn. Shot through the heart of that incredible, magical what was Harry Callis's call? This crazy bunch of throwbacks, just won the National League pennant, something like that. And then Joe Carter ruined mine and so many other people's childhood. Jeff Robinson, thank you for bringing back that wonderful memory. No, literally the game ended last night. My buddy Joe texted me and he was just like, bleep Joe Carter. Also, the movie Adam Sandler, Jon Stewart, the Big Daddy, that movie where Adam Sandler gets a kid. At the end of the game, they reference Joe Carter home run off Mitch Williams. And I'm like, I was enjoying this movie. Thanks so much. Oh wait, hold on. Sorry, Jeff. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson has been roasting Vic on IG. Has he really? I haven't seen that. I did see that he was working out in an Eagles shirt though, as a new member of the Texans. Terry G, off topic. Farzy, if you were Morey, how do you fix the Sixers? Well, if I'm Morey, then I've made it really difficult for me to fix the Sixers. So if I'm Morey, I'm not re-upping Joel Embiid to that deal. So I would, first off, can I be Morey like a year ago where I'm not re-upping Joel Embiid? Can I be Morey 2 years ago where I'm trading Joel Embiid for a Rudy Gobert-esque package? Because being Morey, I don't want to be Morey now. But you asked me if I was Morey right now, what would I do? And I'd draft Ace Bailey. I think the only good way forward for the 76ers is drafting Ace Bailey, if he's available, which he probably will be, at number 3. I think he is the perfect combination of best player available and perfect fit. We just talked about this with Howie Roseman. That's the way the Sixers have to approach this. I think he's great for right now in the idea, sorry, did I say idea? Fantasy that Joel Embiid's healthy, ready to go. Paul George is healthy, ready to go. And both are at least all-star versions of themselves. Then I think Ace Bailey is a perfect guy to have in there with his length, his range, his agility, his mobility, his ability to attack the rim, his ability to create his own shot. The fact that he wants the ball, he ain't scared. I love that. He's a perfect guy for that right now if those other things work out. And then he's even better, I think, for down the line, for letting him reach his true potential, teaming him up with Tyrese Maxey, the guard versus or the guard having a bigger, wing player, a guy that could be that stretch 4 or stretch 3, and provides a part of the game that Tyrese Maxey doesn't have when it comes to that size. So 2 guys that can certainly create their own shot. That's something that defenses are going to have to really consider for a long time if that's what's together when you talk about having Maxey, having McCain, and then adding 6'8", 6'9" size in Ace Bailey. So going forward, if you're Daryl Morey, I think the only way you can fix the Sixers is sticking with the draft. And if you stick with the draft as Daryl Morey, that's your one brag. You drafted Jared McCain. You drafted Tyrese Maxey. Plenty of teams had those opportunities and didn't. You did. And it looks like you have 2 guys that, well, one guy that I know is special in Tyrese Maxey, and one guy that certainly looks, after 23 games at the NBA level, certainly looks like he could be special. So that, to me, is the only direction I think. Oh, also, I think Adem Bona is a backup center. I think Adem Bona is the guy that will be backing up Joel Embiid this year. And you're going to need him and Andre Drummond. If Joel Embiid's your center, you need backups. You need like 2 or 3 more, at least. Danny Johnson, the difference between Jordan Davis and Vita Vea is a big guy who can be in shape, and Davis wants too much junk food, I guess. Shane, what's going on? Shane von Gisbergen? Hello. Farzy, Howie essentially admitted that this year is a punt year with contracts they aren't going to pay Dean. Yeah, I think the only thing that'll happen is Justin Simmons gets signed for like a 1-year, $8 million deal. That's what I think happens this year. Geno's is a tourist trap. I concur. Chicken Arm Patrol. That's hilarious. Farzy, rate your level of under the influence when you go to Geno's at 1 a.m. How many beverages are we talking about here? College days? I mean, I don't know. I would lose count. A lot of beer? Enough to where the taxi, not Uber, I couldn't smell it. I don't remember the smell. So a lot of beer these days. It's been a long time. When's the last time I was at Geno's at like 1 a.m.? It's been a long time. I would say this time it would have to be about 5 or 6 Jack Daniels, whiskeys, bourbons, cigars. but hammered. That's like, I can't be more descriptive than that. Hammered. LJ Maya, what's going on? I went to Wood with Farzy, and back in the day, he could slam him back. Okay, then that's a lie, because I was the most straight edge kid there was, man. I unleashed the fury in college. Alec Wilson, last 30 games, Sean Kilrain, 330, 366, 496. 38 hits, 5 home runs. Man's mashing. Chris, rank the Phillies problems. Rob Thompson, inconsistent offense, bullpen, outfield. Inconsistent offense, bullpen. I'm going to say left field, because I feel like they could upgrade more at left field than they can upgrade at center field. Now, I don't think Brandon Marsh is going to continue to hit 298 like he did in May. I think we all know what that is, but I think left field would be the spot to upgrade. Schwarber's been on fire, 59 to 61 games, says Sean Kilrain. Reaching base, absolutely. Deb R. Farzy don't get it either when it comes to the closers not having pickoff moves. I agree. You and I are on the same page. Jim 13, I'm afraid of the bullpen as well, but when it comes to the playoff performance, it's been the offense that slumps. I concur. David, I'm trying to get one of these in here. David says, improve the bullpen, but you're always saying all these starters you don't want to trade. Trade Ranger, trade. Like, you could trade a starter. You're going to have 2 starters coming up. Feel pretty good about that. I do believe that the Dombrowski Aroldis Chapman connection could bring him to Philly. I do think that is a distinct possibility. Yeah, Sean Gillespie. OKC built their process, or beat their team process free. They just made the right moves. I mean, the Oklahoma City Thunder wasn't great. They just made the right moves. Like, if you want to compare it, let me pull up their numbers. I don't know them off the top of my head. Thunder reference. Watch me get a Weather Channel. Yeah. Okay. This is like when people tell me about the Warriors process. Okay. All right. 24 wins, 22 wins. 2021, 2022, and 2023. Or no, 2021, 2022. They had 22 wins and 24 wins. All right. There's not a 10-win season there. Sixers had a 10-win season. The difference is they hit on their draft picks and they made smart trades. The Sixers did not. After waiting so long to build something, they hurried. They tried to hurry up and build something. Oh, and their 2 number 1 overall draft picks event that really didn't pan out. Markelle Fultz, certainly, and Ben Simmons in the long run didn't work out. So, yeah, you do that, not going to be great. Silo Man 9. Farzy, would you trade Tyler Salver and Buddy Hield, Harrison Barnes, and 2 first-round picks in exchange for 76 Ben Simmons, Tobias Harris, and Matisse Thybulle? Yes. Done. Absolutely. In a heartbeat. Sean Kilrain. No more Romano is officially Little Dicky. You agree? Oh, yeah. Hodgepodge. Forgot Carter went to the Orioles. Yes, he did. I saw that, Rye. Ronald Darby announced his retirement. I liked Ronald Darby. I interviewed him one time, and he gave me a quote that I'll never forget. He goes, he likes to describe Philadelphia as the city of brotherly booze. And I thought that's a great way to put that. Because people always talk about, city of brotherly love. I'm like, oh, yeah? Do you always get along with your siblings? Or are you do occasionally, do you guys yell at each other? That's brotherly love. All right? The brotherly boo, I thought, was a great way to put it. Because when we're booing our team, that doesn't mean like we want them to pack up and leave town. I mean, we might have the impulse from time to time, but that doesn't mean we really want it. The brotherly boo was a brilliant stroke of genius by Ronald Darby. Appreciate everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful. as per usual. I see one more here. I saw somebody agree with me. Bobby Boom, what's going on? I think I agree with you regarding the Sixers. Ace is the move. I'm with you. Thanks, everybody in the chat. You guys are great. Hey, more Sixers conversation coming up later today with Keith Pompey for Locked On 76ers podcast on the Locked On 76ers YouTube channel. More Eagles conversation coming up on the Locked On Eagles YouTube channel with Locked On Eagle Squad podcast. Me, Harry Mace, Jason Martinez, Louis DiBiase for a full hour talking Eagles. And then I got the Phillies postcast later today. It's a 4-show day, people. Just cranking out the content. You know what I mean? Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your day, everybody.
That's pretty dope.
I will see you guys. Locked On Sixers, Locked On Eagles, Locked On Phillies postcast. See you guys later today.